everyone. Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Brandon.
Hello?
Kestrel.
Hi.
And Cain.
Hello, hello.
And we are here to talk about anime.
Yes, we've always been here.
Yep,
Yes.
We've always been here. We always will be here. It's not like we totally didn't forget to start the group recording before we started talking about this stuff.
Impossible.
No,
Yeah, absolutely
that never
not.
happens. We are consummate professionals.
Yeah, this is a very tight ship we run around here.
Kestrel, do we have any news to talk about?
So, despite the fact that it has been 2 months, and even then I only had one piece of news, we kind of don't have any news. I don't know if I'm just not paying attention or nothing interesting is happening. But one thing that did come out today, as of recording, is that we're getting a new original anime film in 2027 from Madhouse and Shingo Natsume, who is the director of the one good season of One Punch Man, Sunny Boy, which he created and was the sole writer on. That was another original from Madhouse. He directed the sequel to Tatami Galaxy, Tatami Time Machine Blues, replacing Masaki Yuasa. And he was the real director of Space Dandy. Watanabe was just like the supervisor. So all of three of those five were from Madhouse. However many I listed, I don't know. But he's done a bunch of interesting stuff in his career, so it should be interesting to give him another original project like this.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think Sunny Boy was one of, if not my top anime the year it came out. I'm pretty sure it was. And then, obviously, huge Space Dandy guy. I haven't gotten around to the Tatami Galaxy sequel, but I'm sure it was good. It was stuck in, I think, Disney jail at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know how it ended up on there.
It just happens sometimes.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad he's finally like really getting the full reins again on something like this. So he's directing and script writing, but also character design from Natsume Ono, which is pretty sick. I feel like.
Right, yeah, I guess I should have mentioned that too. He was also the director of Aka, also at Madhouse, which was an adaptation of one of Natsume Ono's manga.
Yeah.
I liked Aka. I think it's underrated.
Yeah, no, Aka was such a good vibe. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. I mean, 2027's a ways away, but I will be patiently waiting.
It will be here next week.
For real.
The way time works, absolutely correct.
You know, it was also pushed to 2027 and is definitely going to be released.
What's that?
The live-action Zelda movie.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
saw
Zelda makes
saw
money.
that.
It's not anime, so it'll probably be released eventually.
Mm-hmm. They saw all the Hunter Schafer fan casts and they were like, what were we thinking? That should be Zelda. And they scrapped the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
It's okay. They have the Switch 2 now. I think they'll be fine for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in that vein, kind of, the only other thing to acknowledge is Netflix revealed their, I'm not going to say live-action Chopper, but animated Chopper from the live-action One Piece series, which is exactly what you would expect from a CG Chopper. It just looks like the Detective Pikachu models, has vaguely original live-action Sonic, super scary human teeth. Got that Detective Pikachu fur effect. That's kind of it. I guess some people were hoping for some puppetry because of Grogu, but I don't know. That's just kind of because Star Wars started in the 70s and used puppets.
Yeah, there's kind of
a pretty natural expectation to have CG here.
Yeah, and they've for better or for worse, Star Wars, because it had puppets in a way, so it gets the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it'll have it, and if it looks weird, that's Star Wars, baby.
Yeah.
But this, if it was a bad chopper, I'm sure people would be like, it's jank as fuck and looks like hell.
And everyone just kind of goes with, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like how are they gonna keep up the cost of doing CGI for however many episodes they want to do this as. Yeah, making Chopper a Muppet is an upfront cost, but it's like, I would have expected. Well, they still might. They still might have a stand-in that gets projected over, like the way they did the what the heck is that? Where the Wild Things Are. Well, they had like like CG faces were projected over, like nobody knows what I'm talking about.
No. I mean, I assume they will have, an actor on set for reference and probably do mocap.
Yeah, they already have the actress who is doing Chopper's voice is doing mocap for Chopper.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so...
Is she going to be on set, though? Because
I have
Chopper's pretty
no
short.
idea. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they probably have some object as stand-in because they always do.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
that, yeah, I mean...
They'll put Grogu on set for stand-in.
They'll just have Chopper's voice actor like shout lines from off camera so that they don't have to animate him.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as they can. Or they'll do his intro, arc, and then they'll just lock him away in the sunny for a while. Just retcon him, sort of.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but people make CGI all the time. So I think they'll be okay. As long as it keeps making money.
It's just adding more cost into an already expensive project. What's another couple $100 million more?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, considering how much money they poured into like the sets for this show, making them actually practical instead of all just CGI, and then immediately greenlit a second season, I think they're probably okay. I think they know what they're doing.
It'd be pretty funny if Chopper does get redesigned again later and they cheapify him more.
Right. Yeah, you got to be canonically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what was bugging me more about the CGI Chopper, if it was the teeth or the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes are pretty freaky too because they're like realistic taxidermy kind of looking eyes. And it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. That might be worse than the teeth thing.
Yeah,
it's funny because I don't think a lot of people are even talking about how much more freaky he's going to look once he starts using his powers.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That shit's going to be monstrous.
That was going to look like a nightmare no matter what. Unless they go the hot Chopper route.
The hot one.
Heavy point is just Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more terrifying with that.
So he's just going to be racked and stacked. Hell yeah.
I'm about it.
Nice. Yeah, and I think some people were a little weirded out that the hat was furry because it kind of made it look like it was part of his head.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be felt, and it kind of doesn't come off as felt.
Yeah, it just looks like the same texture as his fur. So.
Yeah, it's first pass. That probably won't look quite like that once they're done.
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, that does look too much like fur. Tone it down. But
remember Sonic?
I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to change the teeth because of that. But I don't know why they went that direction anyway. I mean, yes, Chopper's teeth look like that in the comic, but you don't think about it because everything looks crazy in the comic, and then
yeah, we'll see. It's just Detective Pikachu. It's pretty much as expected.
Mm.
Yep, I think that's all I got for news.
Great.
All right, cool. Well, we can transition and talk a little bit about the season here. We have a few shows that we're sharing, or at least can talk about a little bit, and it feels like it's been a little while. I don't know about you guys, but I just got caught up with some of the episodes today, and all of them dealt with death. Like every single one of them was like someone's dying or something tragic is happening, and I was just caught thinking, what happened to all my nice happy-go-lucky shows?
Yeah.
Reality happened.
So that means instant spoiler alert for anything we're about to talk about because someone died in it.
Yeah,
There was
probably.
a lot of death this week.
Yeah, probably if you were caught up, it wouldn't be as bad. But since I was watching a bunch, to get caught up, I was just really loading up all of the trauma and stuff, just really piling it on.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get a chance to watch all the episodes I wanted to watch to prepare, just because other stuff got in the way, and I was more motivated to watch some shows than others. So I may have even been missing out on some.
There may be even deaths you don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's really what I need in my life right now.
Yeah, I think actually Aharen-san dies in the next episode.
Actually, that'd make that show fucking rad as hell.
Yeah. That would spice things up a bit.
We're going from cute school romancy type thing to just an absolute train wreck. Yeah.
We decided a season and a half in to kill the Moe Blob main character.
This hurts the otaku.
Y'all like that Usagi drop? Wait.
No. Just perfect 11 episode series. I don't know what you're implying.
There's only an anime, actually. One of the few.
Yeah, it's a good anime original. 11 episodes, complete story. Anyway, someone else talk.
I will say that we, Emily and I, not on purpose, but finally, spoiled ourselves for a show by a purposeful action, and that would be Apothecary Diaries, which we were watching today. Really enjoying it so far, but we ended up having
mad enough they had to know what happens next.
No, not quite. So we actually just had to look up a family tree because we forgot how many people are related to each other.
That's unfortunate.
Understandable.
It's funny you should mention intentionally spoiling yourself on that, because that actually just passed the manga, so now only the novels are ahead of it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, these new episodes, I think last time we talked about the show, it was cooling off a little bit for both myself and Emily because we were just getting slightly confused on the direction it was going, since it seemed once Mao Mao got kidnapped, then just stuff was happening, but without really wondering why anything was happening at all. And then these past 2 episodes, shit just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
So got everything that we asked for and then some, but it was from the newest episode, whether that aired today or last Saturday. I can't remember when we get those.
Yeah.
Friday?
Friday.
Yep, Friday.
Yeah, Friday, that prompted the family tree lookup, just because there's that really sort of tense scene between Mao Mao and Lolan / however many alter egos there are, and it was just like, yes, that's correct. She was the wife of the brother of the sister of the illegitimate daughter, and I was just like, who the fuck is any of this?
That's a little confusing when they're explaining it in the show. Then they show us multiple times. It's still like, wait, who was the what and the where and when?
Yeah, it's not
confusing.
the show's fault, necessarily. It's my stupid idiot head brain fault for not being able to remember how this works, especially given the fact that I had said last time we talked about the show that I really love palace intrigue, and this is kind of all that there was. It was just so much in such a short conversation that we had to look it up afterwards, and then spoiled ourselves for some of at least one key plot element later. That just wasn't the goal of looking at the family tree. It was more trying to reestablish how important this conversation was.
You accidentally went too far into the future, and you're like, oh fuck.
Pretty much.
It's always risky, yeah.
Luckily, it's not gonna ruin the enjoyment of the show or anything, because it's probably in the grand scheme not that important. It's just a mystery that hasn't yet been solved necessarily, so we'll figure it out eventually, I guess. But still, really glad it finally kicked off, because Emily and I were waiting for, why is Mao Mao here? It seems like she was kidnapped and all this effort was put into this, and now they're just kind of chilling until Shenmei shows up and just terrifies everybody all the time. So it was nice to get some plot momentum that felt real, since on Jinshi's side and the palace's side and everything, it felt like not necessarily like twiddling their thumbs, but just trying to get basic information on where everyone is, and it felt like it was taking fucking forever.
Yeah, the show is really good about dropping a bunch of plot threads over the course of its run that seem arbitrary or disconnected, and then showing you how they were all leading to the same end goal, and it's really, really expertly done.
Yeah, this is the long drop. This is like stuff that was seeded in the first season.
Yeah.
All finally coming back around. Like, all these dangling plot threads that have been kind of like hanging off in the background all came to a head at the same time. It's like, oh, that plot was all the same plot, and here it is coming to fruition. And we finally know who the culprit was.
Yeah, the screenshot of the character that was actually another character, but it was in the first season. I'm like, oh my god. Like, how could I be so ignorant? But yeah, it's been fun getting back on that train for sure, and watching everything just fucking pop off.
It's like I keep going. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so used to giving shows like the lowest common denominator of like, and this stuff's so dumb and whatever, and they're not gonna loop all this stuff back in, and it's like that's totally random. And then it's like the show's like, oh no, this was a series of well-written novels, and this stuff all actually makes sense.
Yeah. Everything was carefully plotted out from the very beginning. Very unusual.
Someone not watching the tonal whiplash, because the last time we talked about this show, I'm pretty sure we were just talking about Jinshi's frog or whatever.
Back up in a funny way, where I was like perusing festival food stands, and there's one food stand that's got a bunch of locusts, and there's another one that's got frog legs, and she's like, I will take the chicken. So
yeah, it's kind of always balancing humor with very serious stakes. Mostly because Mao Mao just doesn't really get bothered by anything all that much.
No, very cool.
Yeah, I think the first time we've seen her genuinely shook in like a really horrific way is like the end of this previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, holy shit, yeah. So, yeah, that's there's a very big, oh shit, what have you done? Oh shit. Yeah, everything popped off in that last episode. It's like, you're crazy! What are you doing with the flame to that gunpowder? Oh dear god!
Literally popped off, it sounds like.
Literally popped off. There was explosions.
Well, it's funny how Mao Mao, going back to how cool she was, that episode, I think it was that episode as well, that the prospect of being tortured, even, she's just like, oh, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yeah.
That was funny when Lalon's like, put her in the Taibon, and you're like, what the fuck's a Taibon? And then you see the other girl freaking out, and you're like, oh, she was really upset about snakes. This is gonna involve snakes somehow. And then, and I just watched that guy carry in that little chest, and I'm all like, you're gonna need a much bigger chest, my dude.
Yeah, I don't think you guys know.
This is a big room, and that's a small chest. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna go the way you think this torture is gonna go.
Right. Yeah, and the fact that, of course, Lolan suggests it because she knows Mao Mao, and she's like, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
She'll fucking cook the poisonous snakes and eat them. No big deal.
She knows Mao Mao's a freak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because she's also a freak.
Yep. I just love the gleeful, like, oh, I finally found use for these hairpins.
Yeah, that was definitely like a twist that blew my mind. I was like, has Lolan really never spoken? Like, they couldn't hide that, could they? I really had no idea.
Yeah, neither did I. And then looking back, I didn't comb through previous episodes or anything, but yeah, she says like nothing at all.
Yeah, I knew she was very stoic, but you would have to literally have the character never speak for that to work in anime, and that must have been true.
I mean, they weren't doing a very good job of hiding it even without the talking. I mean, she had the same hair color and eye color.
Oh, I didn't even clock it at all, just because
No, it's
anime.
anime.
Yeah, it's all anime. They all look generally similar.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
character
Except
designer,
for
yeah.
she was except for she was the only character with that palette of hair color and eye color.
I guess. There are like
Oh, yeah.
10,000 female characters in this show.
Oh well, okay. That's where it's like, yeah. Speaking of colorblind, yeah, it's like, oh gee, this girl just happens to have the same eye color and the same hair color. But
I don't know. That's like the meme that everyone uses for like One Piece, where they're like, "Oh, they have the same hair color. They must be related, or they must be the same person." This time, they're actually the same person, apparently.
yeah.
yeah, it's cool, Kestrel. I didn't clock it at all either.
Yeah.
I did not notice at all. Like, I think because at times you just forget that Lolan even exists as a character. Like, she would appear so infrequently as a concubine that you would forget. And even when she was mentioned, it would just be mentioned by Mao Mao, like in passing, like, oh yeah, Lolan just doesn't talk a whole lot, does she? And that'd be it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're
Those
drawn.
look like two generic ass Apothecary Diaries characters to me.
Hmm.
Have the exact same hair and eye color.
I could see 100 of them in the background.
Yep. Nobody else in the series has hazel eyes.
It's honestly how I feel though, looking at screen grabs when I'm making thumbnails and seeing like Mao Mao as like a chibi little runt, and then seeing her like locked in beautiful mode, and it's like, oh wait, these are the same character.
Like the girl, the geeky girl took off her glasses, and now she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Did you read this first, Kate?
No, I've been holding off on the books
Okay.
until after I read.
I was gonna say, how many novels have you read ahead on?
No, I'm only finishing up the second novel, so I'm way back in like the first season or whatever. So I just haven't picked up the next two, which is this season. So I'm trying to stay back on the thing.
Yeah, I can only imagine how many times I'd have to reread some of those pages in the novels when they talk about the lineages. And I'd have to like flip back to previous pages and keep notes.
They should have like, instead of how in like Lord of the Rings or whatever, they have like a map at the front of the book, they just have the family tree at the front.
I've read plenty of things that have had the family tree, and usually it is stuff that's got like this deep political like structure where it's like, okay, I need the family trees drawn out because this shit's getting confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, all you really need to know is that beat up stepdaughter is actually royalty of some way, cousin or something.
Yeah, with the old pedo emperor man.
Oh God, pedo emperor. Pedo Emperor is the gift that keeps giving with all this drama.
Really
there
does.
wouldn't have been any drama if Pedo Emperor hadn't been in Pedo.
Yeah, that's true. So in fact, we should be thanking Pedo Emperor, actually.
Like literally everything in this whole series up till now has been like the ramifications of how the Empress fucked up her son, and then there were yeah. Power corrupts.
I think the thing I'm looking forward to next in the show is I want to see who's all in this like Emperor's punitive force or whatever that they were talking about, like the hellfire that's going to be rained down on them. I just want to see if Jinshi's a part of it or not, really.
He was,
because that's what it felt like.
Yeah, he was basically like put on the spot where it's like, okay, kid, you can't keep hiding forever. Oh man, yeah. Watching Lacan like finally like step into the story properly and just like he went full anime dad and just like fucking wrecked a building in like the most anime moment that the series has had so far. He like fucking threw like a thing through a wall and wrecked a building, which was totally like out of like nowhere. I'm like, whoa, suddenly we're in 90s anime. It's like
he and his weird little clone.
Yeah, it's his adopted son, who is just another cousin or something. This is where shit gets confusing. It's like, wait, what's that family tree look like? Oh, God. I love how he went off and fetched the uncle and brought him back and was all like, what are you talking shit about me being a eunuch? And he's like, I wasn't talking about you!
Yeah, I like that scene as well, where he's just like, no, you're one of the good ones. Like, that's what he tried to do, and it was just
Yeah.
like, nah, this ain't gonna work.
So like,
This
nope.
ain't gonna work.
Definitely the like I found the one person that you're gonna feel bad about chewing out Jinshi in front of and dragged him in here. Huh.
Well, it does make me wonder too. So if Jinshi does kind of, lead this this force to quash this, burgeoning rebellion, which is what it was, how's that going to look later on? Like, what are the ramifications of it? Because I would assume someone of his normal stature, like whatever his job is in the palace, wouldn't be doing anything like this. So obviously people are going to be asking questions.
Well, it's either he goes into battle wearing a helmet or a mask or something, and it's just like, it's the younger prince. Or he has to give up the charade and just give up being Jinshi, essentially. And, actually step into, the role of the younger / not actually younger.
Right. He doesn't even know what he's pretending to be.
Yeah, he's all like, I was raised as his brother, and it's like, ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, that's not what you are.
Jinshi also needs to consult the family tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. It's like, you need to talk to a couple of women in your life, like the one who just pretended to be you, who looks a surprising lot like you. Yeah.
I hope that if Jinshi rolls into battle, he's going to be dual-wielding Feifas like it's a John Woo movie.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's going to be diving and sliding, and there's going to be doves everywhere.
There's going to be doves, yeah.
Or if it's Mission Impossible 2, it's just going to be pigeons.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the bigger things I'm looking forward to is just the ramifications of this like punitive force, since obviously he's going to be a part of it in some way. Then how obviously it's going to be a big plot development event for him, unless he somehow manages to hide himself, which doesn't matter anymore anyway, because Lacan knows and stuff, so other people know.
I think Lacan's known for like ever. That's the thing. He's supposed to be the master strategist. I think he was probably one of the people where they were always like, I mean, why else would he have been showing up and being like fucking with him for no good reason? It's like he knew the entire time, and there's no reason to think he didn't know.
Maybe a better way to phrase that on my part would be Lacan is willing to use that as leverage now.
Yeah. He's like Lacan is looking at him and literally saying, like, okay, yeah, it is time for you to grow up and take some responsibility. You can't hide from your fucking fate forever. Kind of bullshit. And he's like, also, yeah, my daughter is in trouble because of you, so... And totally not because she can't keep sticking her nose into business, even though her adopted father / great uncle is like, dude, you need to stop, like, sticking your nose into all this stuff because it's dangerous. And she's like, I know this is dangerous. And still she's like, I'm gonna go check out this shed in the middle of this field where some hinky stuff is clearly going down.
Yeah, just can't help herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we know how many episodes are left in this season for this? Because some of my shows seem to be a little weird, like between 8 and 9 episodes and such. I guess there'd be 3 and then it's taking a break, or is it going to keep going?
So this is the end of the second core of the second season, right? So it should be ending pretty soon. It'll be 24. It'll end on the 4th. So we've got, 4 more?
And then who knows how long before they decide to adapt. I mean, they absolutely are going to be adapting more of this. It's like the third or fourth highest rated show in anime airing right now, so it's just a matter of when.
They're doing like one novel per core, so we've got lots and lots and lots of material.
Yeah, and if they're not afraid of bypassing the manga, which they've done, then there's no reason for them to stop.
Yeah.
Because they're not following that character artist. They're following the character art from the books, basically. So they don't have to worry about that stuff. They've got plenty of source material to go through.
I mean, even like Slime, which was explicitly an adaptation of the manga, that passed the manga, didn't it?
I don't. Did it? I'm
Did
not
it?
sure.
I
May
thought
not
you
have
had said
been.
that it did at one point.
No, because I lost track of the manga a long time ago. So,
Oh.
I know there's a lot of volumes in the manga, and that sells incredibly well. So it's I don't know. I don't know what the status is. I know the light novels are finally coming to an end soon. Another thing I'm horribly behind on. So much fucking slime though. Oh my god! And some of those volumes of those books are just talking. 2 or 3 volumes. Jesus.
Isn't that what the show was like?
Yeah, people were not happy about that last season.
For those volumes, yeah.
Yeah, because that was what it was. It was just people talking. Dude needs an editor that's willing to actually edit and stop with your characters. Just keep introducing more people and just have them talk each other to death. That's cool.
Just that 100 girlfriends panel over and over and over again.
That did get adapted this past season.
That's.
Yeah, we should be heading into a pretty explosive ending then, because it seems like everything's coming to a head for a few different plot points, and not to mention just the complete military crushing of a little bit of a rebellion, which should bring its own twists and turns. So
yeah, I'm really interested to see where the story goes after this first story arc is essentially done, because it's like, okay, you'll have there'll be a new heir apparent, and because Goku's in labor as we speak, and then this whole Gingy thing being out in the open, and the rebellion and all the death things, and yeah,
it'll be very good. Well, should be very good. Speaking of death things, Bran, how you feeling about Anne Shirley?
Oh. I watched that latest episode today, so I'm still reeling from it, even though it has kind of been set up to have. It was inevitable. It seemed for the last 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's still a bummer, and I feel like the bummers are kind of piling up.
This episode really was a lot of a large mountain of dog shit that Anne has to deal with.
Yeah, but she took that on the chin, man. She the fact that she's giving up basically everything she was working for until that point is pretty commendable. I honestly, for when we were maybe about 5 or so episodes in, I was starting to malaise on the show a bit. I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting sick of just the little girl and her antics, but I feel like the pacing picked up pretty exponentially to a point with her becoming a teenager and going to Queens and doing the school thing. And I feel like the show has been maturing at a rapid pace too. And with that, I feel like the stakes feel a little bit more, realistic. So, all of this happening, everything that's happening in these latest episodes now, I'm totally invested in. So I was waning on the show for a bit, but now I'm all in.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting from about that 5th or 6th episode when you start getting slightly larger jumps in time, and it's going from 11-year-old Anne to 13, and then to where she is at the end of this episode, 16 and a half or 17, something around those lines, that you see, in my mind, where Marilla really rubs off on her.
Yeah.
Marilla is still one of my favorite. I think it's still my favorite character, if only because of the sort of down to earth, and even as she's told Anne, I may have been a little harsh or disciplinarian on you, but I think it really helps to bring Anne's imagination from this kind of wild and untamed area into more of a tool in a way that Anne can use. It's a part of her personality and always will be, but it's really interesting to see her basically utilize it to try to maintain optimism and plan for these like bad things and try to use it to help her navigate the world rather than use it as a piece of an escape from it.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting. And Marilla had to be there to be that way because Matthew was obviously the soft hand the whole time.
Yeah, very stoic. He'd maybe at best give you like an approving nod or a grunt.
Yeah.
But
what did you think of what did you think of the way that obviously spoiler alert here, like the way that they killed Matthew in the show? Because it's very, very sudden, very plain.
Yeah.
Like there's no fanfare behind it whatsoever. He sits down, opens the newspaper, sees a shocking thing in the newspaper, and then just has a massive heart attack. Boom, that's it.
Yeah, there was really no drama to it. It was very, he doesn't get a last word. It wasn't played up for the theatrics of it. It was just, and I think I haven't read the novels, but I feel like that is just kind of probably pretty symbolic of the times. We talked about this a little bit before, but people were just dying back then, and I don't think he was probably at like peak age people were expecting to live up to, so
well, he had a history of overworking himself too, to the fact that they had to get that kid Jerry that you only see like one fucking time, so Jerry must be a lazy sack of shit. But
yeah, Jerry was not put in the work if Matthew had to go so soon. But no, yeah, it was very straight and to the point. Like you said, the doctor shows up however long later, and he's like, yeah, he probably died instantly, and I don't think he had any pain. All right.
Yeah.
Peace.
And that's the best he could offer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, it was rough.
So, for reference, since you had mentioned it, Bran, I did look this up, and the chapter in the book that Matthew dies in is just 6 pages. So the book treats it in the exact same way. So it's actually a really faithful adaptation of it, apparently, where, yeah, the way that the book writes it is it's just a normal morning, and then he keels over, and that's it.
Yeah, that's probably how it usually happens in that kind of scenario, too. And it's crazy, too, because they really played down what it was all about, which they've also been slowly kind of making... this is like the brooding of the plot with the bank. You only see it for like a quick second, like what he was looking at on the newspaper before like we continue on. And I feel like it wasn't ever a focal point of the episode, which is good because I feel like the episode is really about the characters reconciling with the death rather than the next speed bump that they're gonna have to deal with. But yeah, just really somber episode.
But well, it's them trying to find time to grieve in a world that doesn't let them do it.
Yeah. And I think similar to what you said earlier about how Marilla helped Anne kind of shape her imagination, and like Anne's always been very verbose and like dreamer like, but now she's able to kind of rein it in a little bit and be a little more realistic with it. And it's really sad. One of the episodes earlier, Anne specifically mentioned how she doesn't feel like talking as much anymore.
Yeah, kind using large words.
Yeah, she's like, I don't really need to do the whole like theatrical thing anymore. And I feel like that's a part of her maturing. And I thought it was really powerful that she was able to comfort Marilla in a way that, in a few episodes ago when Anne was still much younger, it would have been a completely different scenario. But yeah.
Yeah, for how quickly the story has gone in a lot of ways, I think it still does a good job of giving you those anchoring emotional moments with the characters, so that when, Anne and Marilla do embrace after Matthew's death, and that scene later on the doorstep where they're kind of reminiscing about what Anne used to be like, kind of making fun of her for dyeing her own hair and things like that. It still has an impact. Like you still feel a connection there, which sometimes when shows can have a pretty blistering pace or do those time skips, it doesn't feel earned. or it doesn't feel like you can connect, but I didn't get that out of it. And I think because the show may have been going fast, but it takes its time where it needs to in those interpersonal moments, especially between Anne and Marilla, since they are about as polar opposite as you could expect them to be. So being raised by Marilla was a challenge just as much as raising Anne was a challenge. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and not to jump ahead a little bit, but I think it is crazy how another part of Anne growing up is her reconciling with Gilbert.
Yeah.
Which it's so crazy to me that, like, you know, it's only been a few episodes or so since she was like, I'm never speaking to him ever. And they kind of just, it's kind of like their thing is that, like, they're always crossing paths and they're always at the top of the class together, but like they are never like acknowledging each other, at least with words or anything. But they literally never did not talk for years, which is crazy to me. Then they finally get to this point where she's like, hey, thanks for doing all that. And he's like, oh, great. We're chill now. We're good. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be best friends.
Well, it was Anne's stubbornness more than anything. Gilbert was always ready to, you know, be friends with Anne and try to build that bridge back after apologizing and then, you know, saving her life on that river and things. And she even mentions, like, I forgave you at that point, but like her pride did not allow her to come to grips with that because, you know, he had poked fun of her at her most vulnerable spot. And now that she's aged and matured and she doesn't care what she looks like as much anymore, Gilbert is, you know, able to have a relationship with her in that way because she's just learned not to care as much about those types of things and see that Gilbert is pretty fucking rad.
Yeah. No, he's always been a G. I mean, outside of poking fun at her hair at the very beginning, I mean, he, one, immediately felt bad about it. And two, he's just like always been there being like, you know, cheering her on from the background or like being that, you know, that rival, but also like they're lifting each other up kind of thing.
Yeah, it was never hated rivalry, at least from Gilbert's side, and not really from Anne's either.
Yeah. And meanwhile, she has that one friend that literally puts her down at every turn. Like, I know that girl probably like cares about Anne, but like, she's so mean.
Yeah, that girl can suck eggs. Every time she comes on screen, Emily's like, why is this lady even in Anne's life anymore? She should get kicked to the fucking curb.
Yeah, that's Anne's next step to maturing, is realizing that some friends don't need to stay your friends. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
you just need to be friends with Gilbert, and you just need to be friends with Diana, and then everyone else can just be kind of hanging around.
Yeah. I do like that she's going to be staying at Green Gables too. I feel like her being able to teach at Avalonia, Avonlea, yeah. I think that's cool. Like a nice cyclical moment. She'll be able to do that. So once again, shouts out Gilbert. He's like, yo, I'll go to White Sands, bro. It's good.
Yeah, big ups to the G-Man. Yeah, what a tough decision, though. Apparently that has, for people who never read the books like myself and are like engaging more with Anne of Green Gables because of this show, that has been a controversial point, is Anne making the decision not to go to college and to stay behind. But
yeah,
I don't know. I would do the same thing. Like, I agree with her. Like, how could you in that spot? When your adoptive parents, the only people you ever had and the ones who gave you a chance, one of them just died and the other is going blind, and you're just gonna say fucking peace and head off to school? Like,
yeah,
that would be such. It would be the right move for Anne's future, but it's not the right move for her family, and it's a decision that people in the real world have to make every single day. There are tons of people out there that could have gone to college, had talent, knowledge, and everything, but just real world circumstances didn't allow them to do it. So it's one of the more understandable and realistic choices that Anna's ever had to make, since up to that point, most of the time it's just like, what tea do I want to drink? Or whatever.
Yeah. I do think that it is a difficult topic, and I feel it's nuanced because a lot of people, their perspective is going to be completely different from what hers would be at that time period in that part of the world, kind of thing, where it's like, sure, in like a modern story in this scenario, like maybe she should just like drop everything in her life and like pursue this goal and like be the best woman she can be and like become like as well educated as she can. But it's like these people gave her everything. She accidentally fell into their lives and they were okay with it, and it like made her into who she became. So like in in Anne's mind, why would she like throw that to the side? I feel like she made the right decision.
You could never go through that education through those college years, especially if something were to happen to Marilla during that time, and not feel guilt about it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like if she were to go off to Redmond, I think was the college. If she was to go off to Redmond and Marilla like went blind and had to sell Green Gables and then was just like living out of a box or some shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how successful Anne got. She would never ever forgive herself for it.
Yeah. And I honestly thought that like maybe Marilla would pass pretty soon after the fact too, just because, in most cases, older couples, it's like when one goes, the other is soon to follow. And I think if Anne goes off to college, like Marilla probably doesn't have another couple years in her, So I think that eye-opening moment where she's like, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to read to you and we're going to like keep the farm and like keep living. I think that literally added a decade onto Marilla's lifespan.
Probably. Yeah, we're going to keep living. We're going to farm here. We're going to fire Jerry.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of Jerry. We're going to get Cheesy Larry.
Yeah, we're going to get someone who knows how this shit really works. Yeah, I definitely agree, though. Like, that extends Marilla's lifespan, like, guaranteed. Even if she dies 2 weeks later, like, if she would have left, who knows, Marilla could have died, like, that same night, just from it. Like, they need each other and rely on each other emotionally. Like, yeah, definitely it's more weighted towards Anne because she's younger and able-bodied and everything like that, and Marilla, is losing her eyesight, is older, generally weaker, and things like that. But yeah,
and I think like that's not to say that like Anne doesn't have a future anymore either, because
no, of course not.
She's already shown proficiencies with things like that talent show and like the connections she's made through stuff like that. So I think, she has such a bright personality that like she's gonna be fine.
Yeah, she'll be a fantastic teacher, even though at least from the episode preview, it looks like her first class of students are overwhelming dickheads.
That's how it would be.
It's reality. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for Anne to reconcile the fact that her class was like the dream team, like the '96 dream team, and she's getting like 2020 Chicago Bulls.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, she's dealing with modern day Chicago Bulls.
Oh yeah, she's dealing with this modern day junk franchise.
Yeah.
So I think she's definitely, and the preview makes it look like that's going to be the plan. But she's going to have her own sort of come to Jesus moment, realizing that not everybody likes to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna have to deal with the ghetto kids, and she's like, oh no.
But it looks like they get into a fight immediately, which will be fantastic. I am hoping, and I don't know how the show is going to treat this because of its pacing and what's left, because I think it has like 2 books it's going to try to cover. But how that will also affect her and Gilbert's relationship, because they're going to be living close enough together that they are essentially colleagues of a sort, where they could, sort of help each other out in that respect, in trying to figure out how to do this fucking teaching thing.
Yeah, I think we're due for the Gilbert stocks to really start rising. So
yes,
buy
Gilbert
in now.
Gilbert stonks on the rise.
Yeah. Also, just a quick the story aside, which has been easily my favorite part, the art has remained, at least the background art, I think, has remained stunning. The show is like not animated great. It doesn't really need to be. There's not really that much going on.
Yeah.
But I think at least the backgrounds and everything still look great in every scenario. So
Well, they
still
have that
pleasant
wonderful
show to
little
look at.
watercolor look, especially the sky. And yeah, luckily you are correct, Brand. Good animation is not necessarily needed because a lot of it is just conversations and running. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it still looks really good in that regard, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice that we're only halfway. I know this is just the first half of 2 cores. I don't know if it's going to just be continual or not, but
yeah, that I'm unsure. So I'm also curious as to how much, like, what the plot and story differences are in terms of like their length, like if those second 2 books are longer and more like plot dense than Anne of Green Gables, because also this episode basically finishes the book Anne of Green Gables. So now the rest of the show is split between Anne of Avonlea and Anne of the Island, which are the 2 others. Or at least the 2 others they're going to try to cover.
Okay.
So yeah. It's just I don't obviously I don't know what happens in those 2 books, if it's like Anne of Green Gables had the most stuff happening and then these other 2 were a little bit lighter, or if it's the opposite way around. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes.
We shall see. But I'm glad I stuck around. It's been really pleasant. I mean, aside from, the awful parts of the latest stuff, but
yeah, no, I feel you. I'm the same way. It's been a very good show, and it balances a lot of the nice, relaxing, feel good with some of the more harrowing elements of the time period that they live in without getting too heavy. I don't know if the anime is gonna deal with this, or if how the books dealt with it. But Emily also brought up a good point, like how is it going to work when it comes to like land ownership unless Matthew left Green Gables in Marilla's name? Because at that time period, it was not uncommon for women to not be allowed to own land.
Yeah.
Like just as it is. But if it's left in the will, I think that's like a loophole for it. I'm not, obviously being Canada, I don't know how it works up there, but Emily brought up that good point. Like in a lot of places in the United States, at least, if you were a woman, you couldn't own that, like any of that couldn't be in your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is already in, what year is this supposed to take place? I know when it was published. What year is it actually supposed to be set? I feel like it was late enough that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it could be. I'd have to do the research. It was just an interesting point she brought up because it's that was a distinct period of time. So
yeah. I mean it's early 1900s or whatever. So it's like I don't know. I think it's a little more lax at that point.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know much about real estate or anything, but my immediate thought was, I mean, if he owns it and passes away, I don't know if ownership wouldn't immediately go to Marilla. Would it go to the bank? And then if the bank went under, what happens there? So
that's
I think
also
it's kind of up in the air. So
yeah, there's a lot of uh-ohs.
Yeah, I think aside from Anne's teaching arc, I think that's probably gonna have to get covered in the next episode or 2, just so we know what standing that the farm itself is in. Seems pretty important. I mean, it literally killed Matthew.
Okay, so Kate, you are correct. It squeaks by. I just Googled it. It was actually surprisingly easy to find. So Anne of Green Gables takes place in 1908 and thereabouts. And then women could legally own property separate from their husbands or significant others, thanks to the Married Women's Property Act of 1884. So there you go. She should be fine. for the most part.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly money. From what I recall, I think it was mostly a money issue for them.
Yeah, they don't have the FDIC up there.
No.
No.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming down the road for it, both for Anne and the people around her. Hopefully that stuck-up friend gets her comeuppance.
Yeah, she just needs to go.
Yeah, I don't know how, but get some type of lesson so she can stop being such a stuck-up little bitch.
She'll go get a really terrible husband.
Yeah, honestly, that's what we should hope for.
Well, wasn't that her plan? I thought that was
Get a really
because she's
terrible
like,
husband?
no, it was like, I'm just gonna get married to someone rich or something. When they were talking about their futures in that one piece, because they talk about going to college and what they want to do, and I don't think it's Diana says it, but I think it's that other friend that's like, I'm not going to school. Like, once I'm done with Avonlea, that's it, and then I'm just gonna marry someone rich,
Marry a
or what
rich
have
boy.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Not a bad move, I guess.
Very common
Good
move for the
luck.
time period. It's like, marry well.
Yep. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, Bran. I think it's very good. Hopefully more people watch it and can appreciate it. I'll probably end up even reading the books afterwards, just because I just want to know how the story rolls out when you get the full.
Probably
the full
all
experience.
on Project. They're probably all on Project Gutenberg. You can probably blow through them in like an afternoon. The first
That's what I'm
one,
hoping
anyway.
for.
They're not very long. I mean,
Yeah, we were reading them in middle school, like when I first started seeing them. So they're not tomes.
That's good. That could be fun though. Reading through them after.
Yeah, why not? Get cultured.
Yeah.
reading the classics.
Indeed. All right. How about we shift a little here? So I know that Bran, you and Kestrel are both watching To Be Hero X. Is it X?
It is.
It's
Okay,
not
not
like cross or something.
Or 10
Yeah.
or anything like that. I have another friend who brought up that he was watching it as well and was really enjoying it. So it seems to be pretty well regarded, and he also agreed, like, yeah, you don't have to know anything about the previous one. So
Please do not know anything.
Please,
about the previous
please
one.
don't know.
it's actually encouraged to be completely
You're better
ignorant.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are still liking it some more. I was scrolling down through Anime News Network like to try to find maybe some news to talk about, and there was one screenshot from it, and it was just a baby, and I was like, oh, cool.
It's very it's going for like a semi-anthology thing where we're following different people for an episode or two, and I'm still very curious if it's like building to something like a bigger plot point, because I think this is also a double core show.
Yeah. I believe so.
But I feel like they're building to something with the overarching because the way it works is that you get power through like people believing in you, basically, and it's basically like a social credit, because the minute people start flaming you online, you lose all your strength. So and I feel like we're getting a mix of characters like redeeming themselves, some of them like falling off, some of them becoming heroes, some of them maybe turning heel. So it's very interesting. It's been enjoyable so far. I still think, I said this the last time, it still kind of gives me almost like mobile game energy or like a mobile game ad
Sometimes,
energy. Just like the way the story beats move. But yeah, it's still very much enjoyable, and it looks really good. It's definitely one of the most unique looking shows out right now.
Yeah, and it, changes its aesthetic between arcs sometimes dramatically. So, like, the switch between the latest arc and the one before it was from, like, full-on arcane style 3D to traditional anime 2D.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it has used a lot of that kind of comic book stylization and different kind of scenes for, media within the show and flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the last one I watched was that episode about the cult with like the girl that was like the hope giver kind of like luck person. And that one, was mostly the 2D style instead. But
yeah, once her arc started, it was pure traditional anime 2D, and that's the latest arc that just ended.
Yeah.
It does seem like they are kind of, building out the top 10 heroes, their kind of backstories, origin stories, in 3-episode arcs over the course of the 2 cores. And it does seem to be, all the implications are that it's tying together into the one main, I don't know, either protagonist or antagonist. He seems pretty sinister. So, I'll definitely be curious to see how it goes. So far, it's kind of anthology style in that none of the characters are really interacting with each other's stories. They're all just kind of following them as if they were all characters that were established and we're viewing their backstories in retrospect, but we're just seeing them kind of play out in chronological order, separate from each other.
Yes.
And the pacing, it seems like everything about the style, the aesthetic, the pacing, etc., kind of varies from arc to arc, which I guess kind of makes sense because depending on the kind of character, they'll have a different kind of story to tell. So it kind of feels like a different show every 3 episodes, and you get some that are more comedic than others, some that are more kind of erratic, some that are tragic, some that are a little more feel good, relatively speaking. So it definitely is kind of like a unique show every few episodes, and so far I haven't really had an issue with any of it, other than occasionally the pacing feels a little slapdash. But I think for the most part, it always builds to a satisfying resolution, and it's definitely telling an interesting story overall, and I assume that it has some big plans in mind, since it's kind of been teasing that all along. So we'll see how these 24 episodes play out and what it ends up with.
Yeah, I didn't really... I don't know how I didn't put that together, that it's like, they are kind of building this, like, the top hero rankings with each of their backgrounds, and that will probably lead to, like, whatever the To-Be Hero X, I don't know if it's going to be, like, a tournament or some kind of thing, or just, like, is X going to just... I don't know.
Oh, I think I figured out what's going to happen, actually, in the final arc.
Oh.
I think X is going to give it to you.
Oh no. Ban him. Shoot this guy.
Too good. You're just jealous you didn't think of it. Let's be real here.
No, the biggest rug pull would be if one of these arcs is about one of the OG 2B hero characters. Like
I was expecting like a little cameo in like the first arc where I forget exactly what happened, but it was like, is this gonna be the fucking Kenshiro Tsuda toilet guy?
Yeah. Man, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy if he's X. But we'll see.
I guess he was hot at first, right? And then his superhero's powers turned him ugly. I don't know. I really hope that they never acknowledge the previous 2 installments whatsoever.
If they're smart, they won't.
Right.
There's no one that is wishing for it besides us.
I mean, I don't know why they even like put it under the same umbrella at all. It makes no sense, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he can make a new story about superheroes without calling it 2B Hero. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. You could even like changed one letter or something. Make it TOO.
Well, I think that'd be a little too on the nose. That's still on the same level as 2B Heroine.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's been fun so far.
Yeah, sometimes very emotional, sometimes kind of wild with its plot twists. I feel like the latest arc was a little more tame, but still very enjoyable.
Nice. Yeah, I like the fact that it kind of, like you had described, has like an anthology feel. I think that's enticing.
Yeah.
Something to kind of check out without feeling like I'm signing up for a long haul.
Yeah, I think it does a good job at making sure each of the 3 or 4 episode arcs feels complete and satisfying, but still teasing that, you'll be rewarded for sticking it out throughout the whole series.
Yeah, the first mini arc should give you a realistic idea of if you'd stick around or not. So
yeah.
Nice. Maybe I'll check it out then. Just because of that, it feels like we don't get many. It feels like we don't get many shows like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but we don't get many sort of anthologies. The last ones I can think of are always like supposed to be maybe horror based or something, or like 4 comedy type things, perhaps.
Yeah. It's definitely a very unique series in many ways, and I think almost all of them for positive reasons. So I definitely recommend it.
Nice. Alrighty. Hey, Kate, are you watching Apocalypse Hotel?
Far behind, but I am watching it.
Yeah.
Show's good.
Yeah, I've caught up with it, and I wanted to chat with what happened most recently, or at least in the past couple episodes.
Damn, I'm not that far.
Dang. I was
I'm
say, speaking of
behind.
time skips, Jesus Christ.
I mean, there were some dramatic time skips in those first episodes. It goes from like I think the episode between episodes 1 and episodes 2 or something, it's like 1,000 years goes by or something. I don't know. They say it in passing, so you don't notice. And then between the first alien showing up and the Tanuki, it's 50 years. So the show does not play around with its time skips.
No, it does not. It goes hard in the paint every time. It's just these newest ones feel the most like a time skip because characters like inexorably change and stuff happens. Some of those early time skips didn't feel as much like time skips because nothing actually changed about the world they lived in. They were just like, oh, it's 400 years later and we're still just washing these toilets. Like, no, this time there was a big old time skip and a bunch of stuff happened. I'm not sure. This is based off a manga, right? Or is it original?
No, it's not. It's original.
Oh, okay. Well then, damn. Because you'll have to catch up then, because a lot of stuff happens, and I don't know how to feel about it because of how it handles the time skip aspect of the whole thing. So we'll have to retouch back on that a little bit then. Once you get a chance to get caught up, I'm not sure how far back you are. I think we're 9 episodes in. So get on it.
Wonder how many episodes this is actually planned for. Probably 11.
That's one of the few shows I was regretful I didn't pick up this season because it looks like my jam. I feel like
it is generally. It's really enjoyable. That's got a good mix of sort of Iyashike, sort of everyday comfort, even though it's in an apocalypse and stuff. But these last couple episodes have reintroduced some drama elements into it that have given things a little bit of weight. Rather than everything just being kind of status quo all of the time, there's been some stuff happening. It just feels like it did it way too quickly, which is the problem. Everything's cool and then it's just not. So, or it is and is not at the same time. Just stuff happens, but yeah, it's really good. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. CGI robots, one that just does nothing but open doors.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's his whole fucking deal.
What a gentleman.
All right, well, we can shift away from that then and maybe chat about it once, Kate, you get caught up and stuff.
Yeah, I will endeavor to be caught up shortly. Not like
Excellent.
we'll probably record again shortly, but we can aspire to record again shortly once the season is ended and go over.
I'm just gonna DM you every day. Actually, I'll be like, "Did you catch up yet? Where you at? Why aren't you watching an episode right now?"
Just send her the door guy every day and be like, he's opening the door to the next episode, Kate.
Hey.
Are you gonna
Well,
deny him? It's the only thing he does.
I will suggest that the other people on this podcast should check out this show.
But even you're not watching it.
I'm trying to watch it. I'm just behind on literally everything.
If anything, it's a very high recommendation because she is making an honest attempt to watch it.
True.
So there you go.
I watched a couple episodes this weekend. I'm just like, between this and everything else, I have to. I've really got to get caught up on Gundam.
True.
Oh.
Indeed, Bran, you're still digging it. I see it's number 2 on your list.
Yeah, I'm. The only thing I'm worried about with this show is that it won't have enough time to cook, because I don't know if there's an actual, if they have like an episode count for it yet, but I feel like it needs 2 cores, or at least like a weird 16 episodes or something, because I mean, I just watched episode 8 and I feel like we're still very much like setting the stage for like, okay, who's gonna be piloting what and for which side.
Yeah, we still don't even know if it's like a universal century or an alternate universe or who knows. That still hasn't actually been answered yet either.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, is the last episode I watched did another one of those like UC flashback alternate things with Char and the Kira space, and it's like, what is actually happening? But yeah,
Yeah, it looks like it is confirmed for 12 episodes. So
no,
Oof.
That's rough.
Maybe it'll have a second season though.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because I feel like what more are they gonna get done in like 3 or 4 episodes?
Yeah, so much has to happen yet.
Two
like
or 3 episodes left, maybe.
Okay, well,
good luck.
The one I just watched, they introduced like a literal Ava Unit 1, and I was like, okay, well, they're doing this now, so
shocking.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like, it feels like that's where we were headed in the first place. Like, the Kira space kept getting more and more like weird and everything, and felt like just drugs.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time.
I feel like there have probably been more deaths in this, because I'm not fully caught up, so let's yeah, I don't know. There's been enough death on my anime watch list this week, so
no, never.
Being behind a couple more.
Never enough.
But yeah, overall I'm still very much enjoying it. It's just such a pleasant show to look at. I feel like the colors and designs are all like hitting for me. So
yeah, I think that's still its strongest point, is the character designs and how the colors pop on every one of them. The Gundams have grown on me the way they look. I don't dislike them as much as I did before, and I think it's mainly just because them being 3D CGI and stuff is just kind of the way that we're going in the Gundam universe in a lot of ways now. And I also really liked how in that one clan battle, the one Gundam just grabbed the other by the face and just used it as a shield.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, because it's I think I still especially really like Machu's design, and how she's just like a little ball of energy all of the time. And I do get frustrated with her character and the decisions that she makes, but then I have to remember and sort of keep in mind that she is a teenager and is going to make dumb teenager decisions.
Yeah, she's going through Gundam protagonist boot camp right now. She's got
And she doesn't even
frustrations
have a
with
bright
her.
Noah to slap her in the face.
She doesn't, and I think that might be the issue. Someone's not keeping her in line because she's fighting with her girlfriends. She's crushing on the weird spaced out dude that is like fusing with the Gundam. She's like, I don't want to go to school, Mom. You know, she's got everything she needs to be a Gundam protagonist. She's like aiming guns at people, doesn't want to shoot at them. Like, the bread and butter's all there.
I love how fucking spaced out Timothy Chalamet character.
Live
It's
action
just-
casting confirmed.
Yeah, that would 100% be it. It just reminds me because of how much both Machu and Neon like him. That I'm like, this is just your brother's like loser stoner friend.
For real.
That you guys are crushing on because he's just something different from like suburban America or whatever.
Yeah,
And if you
he's
took
like
a step
he has
back
a
and
car. He's a little bit older and has a car.
he's got a car, he's got some peach fuzz or whatever. So then he's so cool. And then when you look at like how that works, I'm like, this dude is a loser. Like,
Yeah. And at the same time, he doesn't care about either of them.
No,
Like, man,
really not at all.
Dude, the Gundam's telling me, let's go fight.
Yo, the Gundam's like telling me to get fourth meal? So
oh god, that's too good.
Yeah. I don't particularly like him, if you couldn't tell.
I was gonna say we kind of slapped this like stoner persona onto him unfairly, but I think we're running with it.
Yeah, well,
it's good.
I think it's because you know so little about him, and the fact that Machu and Yan both seem to care about him a lot, like, makes sense from, once again, like, the teenage perspective. Like, they're, you know, emotions are all over the place. They're maybe infatuated with him because of his mysteriousness and stuff. I'm like, this dude just doesn't care about you, like, at all.
Yeah.
He barely, like, takes care of himself, and really only just spends all day spray painting the Kira and talking to his mobile suit.
Okay, so wait, the stoner angle actually is kind of working, because he's the guy that both of them first, air quotes, smoked weed with, but it's just they went to the Kira place together, and now they're like, I need to know what that is again.
Yeah.
I need another hit of that.
The first one's always free, the Gundam says.
Yeah. Oh god. But yeah, I'm hoping at least through this first core they keep the new type space ambiguous, because that's been one of my other favorite parts, is just like those huge ethereal emotional moments where everyone's kind of like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, it seems like it's not, unless we're just getting a plethora of new types, it feels like it's going in a direction of anybody under the right circumstances can do new type shit if they're like in the presence of someone who's like a strong enough natural new type almost. That's how it feels. I mean, we could always also just straight up like, we just happen to have a lot of new types right now. Yeah.
And maybe that's because of something happening with this timeline, that like new types are cropping up, like everyone's sister and uncle are becoming new types. But
yeah, space radiation, Minovsky particles, etc., etc.
Yeah, there's just still so much unknown. It's like we're hearing Lala voices, but like she's still not even an actual like character introduced yet. So like Amuro's nowhere to be seen. We did just have, at least in the last episode I watched, confirmation that Char's sister is a thing. But it's like,
wasn't she in like the first one?
Was she?
Very briefly.
I'm failing
the
to
first episode.
Remember.
Do you mean?
Oh, was it only in the theatrical version?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah, he definitely ran into Artesia. Okay, interesting. I didn't realize they cut that out of the TV version, or put it later.
I could literally also just be forgetting, but it made it the episode 8 reveal made it seem like he was like, why is she here?
Oh yeah, that must have been just they had put that clip in the TV or in the movie version, and then it wasn't until episode 8. Interesting.
That makes sense, yeah, because that was the whole scene with them doing the Solomon drop, and then Char disappears finally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I also really don't know.
Episode 2, interesting.
Yeah, I really don't know. It was like half of that episode, but it's like, yeah, the timeline thing is a little wonky right now for sure.
Yeah, it's once again further cementing how weird that cinematic version must have been for you and the other people watching it, Kestrel, because it seems like they just took a bunch of shit from all over the show and then
apparently
kind of stuffed it into this like hour and a half space.
I mean, that makes sense though, right? Because it happened during the same time span as episode 2, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the movie's chronology of it will make more sense, but we'll see. Maybe I feel like we really won't know until this core or whatever is over.
Is there anything more than this core? I thought this was
not that's announced. No.
Yeah, they hadn't said anything.
But yeah, I mean, I think the movie version, like, yeah, it was a fucking bombshell to just start you off with. Actually, it's 0079. But I think everything in it is purely chronological, which is not the case for the TV series.
Very interesting. Well, if there's anything typical of our podcast, they will announce the new core episode counts tonight.
Yeah,
that would track.
I would guess that in another 2 weeks, when the show ends, we'll know whether or not we're.
That's more realistic, I would say.
But you never know.
Yeah.
I do wonder if Amuro
website.
Yes, that's true. It'll leak off a French website tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder if Amuro is really going to be involved at all. Now that you mentioned it, Brain, I was sitting around and thinking about it because, like, outside of when he unlocks his new type powers and stuff, a lot of his positioning in place in the 1 Year War is just like circumstantial.
Yeah, and they immediately made him not necessary by Char finding the Gundam, so it's like, it's really weird.
Yeah, finding the Gundam, stealing it. Yeah.
It doesn't even feel like adding him at this point would make a difference besides making fans freak out. It's like, are they gonna final episode, like, he walks in, he's just like, hey guys, like, what's he there to do? He's like a student? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the Origin OVA, like the first chunk of it, before it got into like later events, they had like an Amuro cameo where he wasn't relevant yet, but it was an Amuro cameo, so people were gonna freak out. So I assume they'll do at least that.
Still think they should make him an alcoholic drunk just somewhere being like, this fucking guy took my job.
He's watching the clan battle. He's just like, that could have been me.
That would be great.
Yeah. We don't need an Amuro cameo. We need like a Kai Shiden cameo where he's just like doing this universe's version of TMZ.
Yes.
Or something. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, where did he end up? Where'd those people end up? So yeah, there's just so much to answer yet. I mean, we were saying the same stuff about Witch from Mercury too. We thought there was a chance it was going to get more because there was so much that had to happen, and then they wrapped it up in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So we could very easily see that here.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Witch for Mercury at least felt a little more contained. This one, I feel like they're very much leaving it ambiguous, like what we're leading to.
Yeah, and that's a good point. There was like a lot of Witch from Mercury up to that point. Yeah, it was corporate intrigue.
Yeah,
and then a a small like and then some of the war between the Earth and them, like the corporate war. Essentially, it didn't have quite as much reach as in like the Kira space and all this shit going on and what it all means. So
Yeah.
alrighty, well, let's see. Looking at the rest of the list, I'm not sure if there's anything that you guys want to talk about in particular, because I think we generally then covered all the shows that, well, not all of them. There's still Fire Force yet, I think. If there's anything you guys wanted to discuss about that a little bit, other than that, we're into, into solo territory.
I just feel like most of my sequel shows this season are all just coasting, and I'm not really caring too much about them. Fire Force is a weird one too, where I feel like the plot is still trying to be, like they're still trying to make intrigue with like the bigger picture of it, but just I feel like the way they go about it episode to episode, it's like, oh, we're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna learn a new thing about how the like the infernals started, and then we'll get an episode where, oh, Arthur needs to get a new sword. And it's like, man,
yeah, it's
just
been very all over the place.
Stay in line for a second. And also like the first few episodes were like a one long fight that kind of felt dragged out too, with Burns and all the other people. So I like want to enjoy Fire Force more, but I just like am not as invested right now as I was when they first started learning about like the Adela bursts and like the big picture stuff.
Yeah, definitely a very strange structure with what they're going with now, where everything is like should be building towards this big climax, but every episode we get is kind of disconnected, and some of them are just like absolute, like this would be a season 1 kind of throwaway episode. Not exactly the time for it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, and as much as I like a lot of things that it does, and I am interested in how the story resolves, some of the comedy, especially the fan service comedy, is still like, oh yeah, that's why this show kind of sucks. And it's hard to remain optimistic about it when it keeps throwing that back at you. Fortunately, it hasn't been too egregious this season. There's been like 1 or 2 big moments of it.
Yeah.
But still, it kind of takes it out of it.
It hasn't been as bad, but yeah, that Tamaki as a character, like the show would be incredibly better without her in it at all.
Yeah, literally everything about her. Like, even if it weren't for the stupid fan service gag, she still just sucks.
Yeah.
And most of her character is the stupid fan service gag.
Yeah, it really just rips you out.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I think like this is the final season part 1, I think, as you do these days. So I think it's going to wrap up the core, and then we're getting the next one in a couple seasons, and I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 parts total.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's like, I don't know, I'm this far in, do I want to stick it out to the ending, but after another break, am I going to be motivated to? Might depend on how it leaves off. It's kind of in that state right now.
Yep, same here. It's like, well, I'm already at season 3, just stick it out. But it's like, well, if there's 3 more seasons to season 3, is it worth it?
Yeah, it might only be 1, so yeah, let's see. Yeah, exactly. That's always how these are. It's people are like, what, you dropped it with only X number of episodes left? I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna just spend another hour of my life watching a show I know I don't like. So it doesn't really matter how much is left. But yeah, let's see, how much do we got left? Part 2. Yeah, there's only 1 more part. So we've got 2 more episodes of this one, and then probably 12 more. So yeah, 14 more episodes ish we're looking at.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe if it's
We'll
a slow
see.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm having a similar issue with Go Go Loser Ranger, where like the central plot is still intriguing, and I like really want them to keep moving that along, but they get stuck in like multi-episode arcs that I just don't care about. Like the first season had like a training arc that it ended on, where like the last like 4 or 5 episodes were all about that arc, and it really killed the pacing. And like halfway through the second season, there's like a time loop arc that, oh my god, I was going crazy. It's like 3 episodes in a row of them like slowly solving this time loop, and the animation dropped tremendously from the first season. So like, man, it's killing me.
What if you had 8 episodes of a time loop?
You know, it's different, I feel, but
It's not literally the same events every
no,
episode. Okay.
it isn't. But yeah, they thankfully like they started to pick up again after that arc. But like, man, I feel like this show gets caught up in itself a lot, and it's wearing me down. So yeah, we'll see. Lots of drag in this season, but
I assume your list is ranked in terms of how much you're enjoying them.
yeah, to an extent.
So what's going on with Yaiba?
Yaiba is just, I think that show is just like the funnest one overall. And that's why I'm loving it so much. Just like peak animation and peak 90s vibe. I think the episode 6 or 7 specifically with when he fought this like bat Oni was just like front to back maybe the most well animated episode of the year for me. Yeah, it's just checking all the boxes. It's just such a fun show. So, and that one too is like the plot's nothing to shake a stick at. It's very much in its lane of like old action show, but it just looks so stylish and I love it.
Nice. I don't even know if I've heard of that one actually up until around, like, just looking at your list. It's not one that I see bouncing around the internet at all very much, but
It I feel like I saw a lot of talk about the first episode, and then I haven't really heard much since. But yeah, no, it's been consistently amazing looking the whole way through. This is one of the, I think, Netflix ones, so that's where I've been watching that.
And it's a new adaptation of an old manga by the creator of Detective Conan, which I think had gotten a previous anime adaptation in the past.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, the OG anime was from in the 90s. So
I just pulled up an image and I'm like, that looks an awful lot like what's his face is. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, because it is.
Yeah.
yeah, no, the character's very much like Sayaka, the main girl. I was like, she's literally Detective Conan character. Like,
Yeah, all of his main girls are the exact same design.
yeah. And I mean, it's very steeped in like that old, like the bad guy's name is Onimaru. Like there's nothing too complicated about this show, and I think that's why it's enjoyable for me. Is that like I can kind of turn my brain off and just be like, wow, anime's still good.
Is that the criteria?
Yeah, sometimes.
I do like the bad guy being Onimaru. That is good.
Hey, Onimaru in One Piece is a good guy.
That's true. Oda breaking conventions.
So brave.
Speaking of that, just briefly, we're getting to like one of my favorite parts of Egghead, which is the Kuma background. So I am super hyped to. I'm a few episodes behind, but I'm like super hyped to get through that.
Yeah, I don't think we've really talked about it since it came back from hiatus. But I think like pretty much since it came back, it's just been kind of firing on all cylinders every single episode, which is what you hope after a 6-month hiatus.
Yeah. No, it has looked crazy. It's nuts. What's the commander's name with the light powers?
Kizaru.
Yeah, Kizaru, like he was just made for some Sakuga animation. Like his powers are crazy. And I mean, not that the manga wasn't good in this part, but like I think the way Oda conveys it with him being so fast is that like you don't see, a lot of those panels are just like he's here and then he's there. Whereas, I mean, it's the whole overproduction craziness in the anime. So like it's such a spectacle to watch.
Yeah. No weird human teeth on CG reindeers?
No. Yeah, none of that we have to worry about.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till they have to do live action Vegapunk.
You think they're getting that far?
No.
They'll hire the guy they had do Einstein and Oppenheimer and just CG a giant tongue.
We just like I just want them to get through, Water 7, and then they can stop, and I'm happy with that.
Honestly, like the dream is they get through Marineford and finish the pre-time skip.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, by then I'll be 45, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they had announced the release date of the second season prior to the Chopper unveiling, but then they announced that it would be next year, so that's 3 years between seasons.
Well, hopefully they start shooting season 3 shortly, so I believe they were supposed to, so.
Okay, so maybe slightly shorter turnaround.
Hopefully.
But yeah, they have to make sure that it remains profitable as well, so we're going to need slight gaps.
And I mean, they've already cast, like, everybody that's going to be in that season, so, yeah. They wouldn't have bothered, casting those people if they weren't going to shoot it.
Right. Alabasta's not in season 2, that's right. Interesting. I mean, most of them appear in previous arcs. How much they stick to that remains to be seen, but I think everyone that they've cast would canonically appear prior to Alabasta if they were following all the beats of the manga.
Yeah, and they could be doing their own thing, but still, it's... Yeah, I don't think they would have bothered.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do any of the events of the Baroque Works story without having Alabasta. It doesn't mean anything. So, yeah. Obviously, that will happen. Hopefully, not 3 years in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the One Piece.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna name drop that and then never bring it up again.
I mean, we seem to be getting little bits of information like once a year. So like we got the announcement, and then a year later we got the staff. So hopefully by the end of this year we'll have, I don't know, a release window, year, something, and maybe some idea of like what the format's going to be like. Like, obviously they'll never catch up. Is it going to be like 10 episodes a year, 10 episodes every 3 years? Is it going to go at the pace of the manga? Is it going to go at the pace of the live action? Like, yeah, no idea.
Yeah. Well, I think we're eating good as is, so I can hold off on the One Piece for now.
It's true, yeah.
Alrighty. Kestrel, I don't know if there's anything else on your list you want to watch. We pretty much covered everything from mine, I think, except Lazarus, but I really don't want to talk about that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Uma Musume continues to be better than I would have expected it to be. And they're going to be showing the movie that is also like kind of unrelated to either of the TV series at AX. And then I think probably in theaters after that. So I'll try to check that out because that was like very acclaimed, which was what first gave me some interest that maybe I should check out the franchise in some form. So since we're going to be getting that, I'll have to take a look in one form or another.
Is Anime Expo in July? That comes up soon?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brando, did you have anything else? I think you had a couple shows on there. Yet, if there was something you wanted to cover real quick, if not, we can head into recommendations if anybody has anything.
No, I won't make you talk about Lazarus because I feel like there isn't much to say at this point. I want to wait till that show's over before I like really we can dish out about it. So
yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of hoping something. The rabbit is pulled out of the hat or something.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it.
Damn, that's a stack schedule. How much of this shit you hit in Kestrel?
That's my
all of it.
I know. I said, how you got stuff overlapping here. So how's that gonna work?
I never know until I'm there.
Yeah.
He's gonna astral project himself into all of the rooms.
That's always the goal. No, I just schedule everything I'm interested in so that when the time comes, I can play it by ear and figure out what's feasible.
I've got Dark Horse manga overlapping with Crunchyroll Industry Panel overlapping with Square Enix manga panel in High Dive Presents. That's painful. Them all being on top of each other like that.
Yep. Especially since you need to wait all day in each room to actually get in.
Oh,
Christ.
I don't play that game. That's why I go to the con that has almost no industry panels.
You mean all of them except AX and Anime NYC now?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Ever since COVID. Those are the only two.
Basically.
I read a Dark Horse panel at Anime Box.
Yeah, Dark Horse will make the rounds, yeah. Yeah, I've got some recommendations if we're done with the season.
Yeah, sure.
Hit us with it.
Yeah, so I will recommend that everyone go buy the first volume of Steel Ball Run, which you may see in the small print says JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7. You don't need to worry about that. If you know nothing about JoJo, go jump right into Steel Ball Run. It is fantastic. It is a brand new universe. You'll get some references to previous JoJo parts, but they are absolutely not necessary. So totally check that out without any prior knowledge.
Yeah, those hardcovers are all beautiful, so
yes,
it'll be real nice.
And also, if you collect any anime soundtracks on vinyl, there are pre-orders up for the Freerun soundtrack. It is a big, beautiful vinyl set, gorgeous soundtrack, incredible series. MSRP only $40. You can get it for like down to 33-ish, depending on like your Crunchyroll membership tier, or if you want to get it on Amazon or Light in the Attic or anywhere else you get vinyl, you can get it there as well. So highly recommend that. That is coming out in a little under 2 months, I believe. Yeah, I think those are my main things. I think Dawn to Dawn. You might still be able to check out the movie, which is to say the first 3 episodes of season 2 in movie theaters, because that is how anime works now.
So weird.
And I think the first season is being released on Blu-ray tomorrow, and that's got a fancy deluxe edition as well as a standard edition. So recommend that as well. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I got.
A little in line with what you were just talking about, they also recently announced a Violet Evergarden vinyl. And
Yeah, that's right. For all of your Evan Call needs, all of the Evan Call soundtracks are coming to vinyl.
yeah, so that one I'm really looking forward to. Grab that one.
Did you order the deluxe edition or the standard?
I have not actually. I don't know
Okay.
who I'm gonna order it from yet. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you know? What comes in the deluxe?
I know there's like a big book of liner notes and stuff. I'll have to look at it again. I'm torn there whether to get the deluxe, get the standard, or neither. Because the deluxe edition is pretty expensive. But I think I might die if I order a version of something that is not the fanciest.
I feel that. Yeah.
Brian, did you have any recommendations other than that, I guess?
I would say no. No, I do not.
I'll throw in another one. Legendary anime X-Arm has been released in a collector's edition Blu-ray set for $90.
No way.
Yep. The universally agreed worst anime of all time.
Why?
That's crazy. 1.8 on IMDb.
What?
That's crazy.
Oh, also something actually. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Finish your thought, and they'll do.
I was just gonna say something actually good. The Dangers in My Heart got a steelbook collector's edition a few days ago, a week or two ago, and that's got a little bit more than Sentai's typical steelbooks. It's got like a book in the steelbook as well. So yeah, if you are into that show, hopefully the second season will get its own steelbook before too long. But very good. Yep. Yeah.
I guess I do have recommendations that are not anime, just because there's all these game announcements happening.
Wait, hold up! Before you step on my game recommendation, I will say mine now.
Fair.
Yeah, Kate.
I recommend Fantasy Life I. For all of your cozy grinding level 5 Dark Cloud-ish, reminiscent of somehow vaguely reminiscent of Dragon Quest Builders somehow, probably because the little chibi guys running around. If you just want something where you can shut your brain off and just level things up, that is the game to do it with.
Nice. Well,
Okay,
I wasn't going to steal your thunder on that game, but my game has a similar word in the title. They announced the remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics, which is
yes,
one of my favorite games of all time. So if you're a fan of isometric RPGs, kind of like Fire Emblem, this is one of the best to ever do it, I would say, plot-wise. But yeah, I would say get your pre-orders in.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of I mean, I know what they were going for with the graphics, but yeah. I don't know. I think I would have preferred them just to like do a more of a remake if they were, rather than just
like an enhanced
attempt to. Yeah, well, their enhancement is basically make the graphics look like a CRT filter, but like they changed. Like I saw a cross comparison, and I'm like, okay, so they did actually change the sprites. But in the process of trying to make it look more like a CRT filter, it kind of just looks like they smeared Vaseline over everything. Like, it's very, soft.
Yeah, that can happen with some of those, because they'll turn on a lot of post-processing effects.
It's just like, it's very muted looking, and I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the dithering and just like adding noise to kind of make it seem like like they move their food around on the plate to make it look like they ate a little. But...
Yeah, It's kind of
Yeah.
it's your typical slightly low effort, Square Enix. We're going to put this thing on another platform again, and we will do the bare minimum of giving it a facelift.
Yeah. I think at the very least it's cool that they are messing with how some of the actual maybe how like the job system works or some of the overlays for combat. So I think if anything, there might be some quality of life updates, which is cool. And I just like that they're involving a lot of the original team, so it doesn't feel too much like just like let's just slap this port onto updated hardware and be done with it. Oh my gosh! Wait. Oh! Nintendo Switch version. Wait, collector's box bundle and game. Yeah, that collector's bundle, like maybe 10 years ago, I would have been like maybe, but I don't know. Those little chocobo collectibles are not enough.
Yeah, I need to look at that. Hold on. That's crazy. Yeah. That's $292. That's a lot.
Oh, that was actually a screenshot from someone in a state with lower sales tax. I should look at it online.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, besides that game, the new Arc System Works Marvel Fighter also looks batshit insane. So.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Oh, the new one? Yeah.
Yeah. Tokan Fighting Souls.
Yeah, it's like a 4-on-4, isn't it? Which is weird because it's normally 3.
Yeah, it's the spiritual Marvel vs. Capcom 4. But no Capcom, sorry. There were so many memes of like Arxis and Marvel cheating on Capcom.
Yeah.
That day it was so
Those
funny.
were pretty funny.
Yeah. But those were pretty big for me. I guess also in the remaster realm, I'm like cautiously optimistic about the Snake Eater remake because that's also one of my favorite games. And it looks fun. That one's a little bit more on like they're trying to like give it a full facelift. But hey, they're keeping the Ape Escape mode, so like that is already selling me because I'm maybe the biggest Ape Escape fan ever. So that was enough to sell me.
Yeah, weirdly there wasn't much from the Summer Games Fest everybody would blow out that was like there were no like crazy announcements really like like nothing really like about bomb dropping or anything. It was kind of subdued.
Yeah, I feel that.
So many games, too many games.
Indeed. Well, the only recommendation I have for this week, since there's so many games, is it actually hasn't released quite yet. I think it's next week, the 17th, but the final volume of the Trigun Maximum Super Nice Dark Horse Collector's Edition releases. Book 5 of 5 for Trigun Maximum, so you can finally complete that collection. Yep.
Damn. Okay. I got the first one of the not Maximum, the first series one, but just the standalone.
Yeah.
I did not know they already had all the others out. Sheesh.
Yeah, they're really nice. I like the look of them. That one, yeah, the original the Trigun single volume one. There was one for Hellsing as well. That's cool. So I'm a sucker for hardcover manga stuff, especially if it can be packed into like 4 or 5 books.
I was just gonna say, there's a series called Berserk.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I wasn't initially planning on getting it, but now I'm thinking about getting that Planetes Deluxe version. Specifically because I have the 2 old volumes, but my volume 1 is like a misprint where like the bottom inch of the page is cut off.
That's not ideal.
No, so I've been planning on replacing that first volume for a while, so I was like, oh, why not just get this nice new one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll probably get those eventually. I've certainly been buying the Vinland Saga ones as they've been coming out, but yeah, Planetus is nice and short, so I'll probably get around to it.
Question about the Vinland Saga ones. Did they change the cover color every time, or what do they look like? I've only seen like the first 2 volumes.
I want to say they all look the same. Do they change the color? Maybe they changed the color.
Well, the first one I think is red, and I thought the next one was like black or something. Maybe I was wrong.
I don't know if any of them are black.
No, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I know.
One's green, one's red.
Okay, they do change the color, right?
Huh. Okay.
Is
Interesting.
it broken into... Oh, it looks like they
They're-
might have broken them into arcs. The first 2 are red, the first, the second, then 3 and 4 are
Yeah.
black. And book 5
Oh.
is brown. Maybe they broke it into the arcs.
Red
That's
for
one
the
way-
prologue.
That's
Yeah.
one way to do it. Okay. That's kind of cool. I grabbed the first one, and I'm just kind of debating. I mean, it's gonna look good in them. I know it is. So I just so many big books now.
I know.
I have like one whole shelf that's all Berserk, and then the Trigun and Vinland Saga volume ones, and I'm just like, I don't know how this will hold.
It's definitely a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Yep, but that's it for me. So, Kate, unless you had anything else, I think we can.
No, that's all I got for right now.
Oh, one more of those Vagabond. That just started.
Ah, yes. Jesus. Oh no.
I don't know
Never
how
ends.
I feel.
There's always
Yeah.
more.
It doesn't.
It's like he's never gonna finish that, is he?
No.
Ugh.
Hopefully, though, they will release they'll re-release his art books because their old editions of those goes for like $1 million, and 2, they will get the like kind of epilogue thing he did initially for like an exhibit that I think was eventually released in print in Japan. So that would be really swell because that's probably the only Vagabond kind of ending we're ever getting.
Oh.
So hopefully when they get around to, catching up with all the actual volumes in these nice big editions, they will also print those. That's what I'm holding my breath for.
Jeez. All right.
Ugh.
Need more bookshelves.
Yes.
Oh God, my book situation is so bad right now. I have so many things just stacked on the floor. In my
I'm
room.
planning to like get rid of a bunch of stuff actually. I think what I've convinced myself is that I don't need like the small Viz Shonen Jump books. Like they're too long running and they're too small and they don't do the art justice. I just need to get rid of them because there's too many of them.
Well, as you're getting rid of stuff, let me know what you're getting rid of.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I don't plan on like trying to like sell them. I'm either gonna donate them or who knows. So yeah, I'll hit you up.
I'd like to sell mine. I might have to put a spreadsheet online soon, so keep an eye on my Blue Sky account if I ever do get a spreadsheet up of the stuff I am willing to get rid of and will happily mail to somebody.
I don't need to break into your house and steal your Mushishi volumes anymore.
I know, that's great. I'm so happy that
great.
people will be able to get their hands on Mushishi now.
Yep. Can't wait.
Alrighty, well, Kestrel, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, and I guess any manga that... Well, you're never going to get rid of manga, really, so I guess it's just more like...
I'll have you know, I am constantly getting rid of manga. You can find me on eBay. Always selling stuff that I'm trying to get rid of. Now, granted, most of the stuff I'm selling is stuff that I'm upgrading, such as old omnibuses of Vagabond and Vinland Saga currently. But yeah, occasionally there'll be like some anime that's a little lower tier that I'm like, I need to make room, and I'll be jettisoning some of that. But yeah, no, you can also find me. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts. Please subscribe, rate, and review. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, fandompost.com. Get our stuff directly through the Libsyn links. Subscribe to our RSS feed if you're into that. And follow us on social media, wherever you get your social media. Fandom Post Radio. You can email us fandompostradio@gmail.com, and you can find me on fandompost.com writing reviews. I did review those episodes of Dawn to Dawn as a movie since I reviewed the first season, and will be reviewing the next one in a few weeks, or I guess a couple months now, since I've already seen the first 3 episodes and reviewed them. Also, you can find my interview from Anime Central with, among others, Keiichiro Saito, the director of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, and Bocchi the Rock.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about all I've done recently. I'm struggling to find things to say about Windbreaker every week. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky. I never post anything, so whatever. Yeah, that's all I got.
Bran, how about you?
You can find me at Hellshake Brando on all socials. Also not posted much lately.
Then Kate?
You can find me on Blue Sky. You can also find me on fandompost.com. I am still reviewing Apothecary Diaries, and I need to get caught up on my reviews of Gundam, so expect a big chunk of those coming out this week at some point. Yeah, so much for me trying to, keep up on more than,
One show.
one show.
Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for listening. As always, enjoy the shows for the rest of the season. Maybe pick up some manga from one of the couple hoarders that are on this show, perhaps.
Yeah, hit me up.
Yeah.
We've got so many books. Many books that we need to get rid of to make room for more books.
Exactly. It's a never-ending, brutal cycle. All right. Thanks, everyone, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Lottie, get down from there and stop looking for trouble.
I heard the cat meow very briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her, hey, it's bedtime. Good jumping up here noise, so.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. And don't knock stuff. Oh, and she's just looking for shit to throw on the floor now.